Hello and welcome to the news on NTA International. I am Olajide Bello. First, the headlines. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to address the nation on June 12 in commemoration of Democracy Day. Clashes and artillery fire rocks parts of northern Sudan after a period of ceasefire. Plus, European Union offers Tunisia 900 million euros financial assistance package. Tunisia's troubled economy has been offered aid package by the European Union. This was offered at a meeting with the president by head of the European Union, prime ministers of Italy and the Netherlands. Golo Mohammed reports.
The European Union is ready to offer Tunisia a package that includes up to 900 million euros in financial assistance to help the country's troubled economy and also reduce the flow of irregular migrants to Europe. European Commission's head, Ursula von der Leyen, revealed this after talks with Tunisian President Kais Saied alongside Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni and her Dutch counterpart Mark Rutte. Upon arrival at Tunisia, the leaders were received by the Tunisian president and led into a hall where the meeting was held. Top on the agenda was limiting entrance into Europe by random migrants via Tunisia, and then a brace for the country's troubled economy was discussed.
And we are ready to mobilize up to 900 million euros for this purpose of macrofinancial assistance. As an immediate step, we could provide an additional up to 150 million euros in budget support right now.
Stakeholders in Tunisia have rallied to protest against the country being used as a harsh gateway for people seeking greener pasture in Europe. Kolo Mohammed, NTA News.
The Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa, COMESA member countries have been tasked to change their approach to trade. Kenyan President William Ruto said this at the 22nd COMESA Summit of Heads of State and Government in Lusaka, Zambia, where emphasized the need for the bloc to embrace a systemic shift to exploit its untapped potential. He said it is time COMESA adopts value addition, especially for agricultural commodities, to enhance productivity. The shift, President Ruto says, will also offer higher returns, incentives industrialization, boost competitiveness, and create employment. He called for the consolidation of the COMESA, the East African Community and South African Development Community, to enhance the African Continent Free Trade Area Agreement. Honduras has opened an embassy in China on Sunday. This is coming after the Central American nation cut diplomatic relations with Taiwan earlier this year. Report says embassy in Beijing was opened by foreign ministers from the two countries. Honduran President Xiomara Castro is in China for a state visit, during which she is to meet with her Chinese counterpart, Xi Jinping. A 5.0 magnitude earthquake hit Johannesburg, South Africa on Sunday morning. The U.S. Geological Survey says the earthquake occurred at 0038 GMT at a depth of 10 kilometers, equivalent with 6 miles. Some residents of Johannesburg reported feeling earth tremors, which went on for about 30 seconds. Security Risk and Crisis Management Consultancy Crisis said there were no reports of damage or casualties as a result of the earthquake. Clashes and artillery fire were reported in parts of Sudan's capital early Sunday, soon after the end of a 24-hour ceasefire that had brought a brief calmness in the 8 weeks of fighting between rival factions. Report says fighting had resumed soon after the ceasefire expired at 6 a.m. in the north of Omdurman, one of the 3 adjoining cities with the Khartoum and Bari, which makes up the capital around the confluence of the River Nile. Residents said there had been artillery fire in Shakilanil area on the eastern outskirts of the capital, while blast and clashes were reported in Khartoum. War between Sudan's army and the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces (RSF) broke out on April 15 over tensions linked to an international-backed plan for transition towards civilian rule. After miraculously surviving the Colombian part of the Amazon rainforest for 40 days following a plane crash, 4 children were found and taken to hospital in Bogota. Colom Mohammed brings us an update on their current situation.
Busy working to ascertain the condition in which the children arrived at the hospital a day ago. Reports say certainty regarding their health can only be arrived at after divergent health professionals spend time with the children, running many tests to not miss out on any treatment or procedure that may be required. Colombians still cannot believe how the children survived in the rainforest for 40 days, especially the infant amongst them. Colombian President Gustavo Petro has kept close ties with the hospital, greeting and encouraging the nurses under whose care the children are. Colombian Defense Minister, who spoke to journalists at the hospital, assured citizens that the military hospital's doctors say the children are all safe and there is nothing to worry about at the moment. Colom Mohammed, NTA News.
The Catholic faithful have been rallying around the Gemelli Hospital, where Pope Francis is recovering from an abdominal surgery procedure he underwent a few days ago. Colom Mohammed reports the Angelus prayer was celebrated at the hospital's courtyard on Sunday.
Dozens of faithful celebrate Angelus prayer in the courtyard of the Gemelli Hospital under the window where Pope Francis is hospitalized. The pontiff underwent a 3-hour operation at the Gemelli Hospital in Rome on Wednesday, the latest health procedure for the 86-year-old leader of the Catholic Church worldwide. Catholics have been there all the way through the pontiff's trip to the hospital, the 3-hour surgical time, and now the time needed for his full recovery.
We arrived here in Rome yesterday morning. Like my friend was saying, we had the audience, which was obviously cancelled. But we're here this morning to try our luck. Maybe he'll come out in the balcony. We'll see. We're hoping and wait and see.
We came from Malta as part of the Jesuits. Yesterday we had a mass in the Chiesa di Gesù in Rome, and today we come here to honor the Pope.
The chief surgeon, Sergio Alfieri, assured after the procedure that the surgery was successful. Colom Mohammed, NTA News.
But away from the foreign scene, back in Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will address the nation on Monday, June 12, 2023, at 7 a.m. to commemorate this year's Democracy Day. A statement signed by the State House Director of Information, Abiodun Olatunji, states that television, radio stations and other electronic media outlets are enjoined to hook up to the network services of the Nigerian Television Authority and the Radio Nigeria for the broadcast. Now, there is time for everything: for a parliamentary assembly, time for inauguration and time for dissolution. For the 9th Senate, this is the end of the road. At the valedictory session, senators observed that the 9th Assembly broke many jinx, such as the Petroleum Industry Bill and the Onshore-Offshore Dichotomy Amendment. Ignatius Nkwo reports.
That was 11th of June 2019, just like yesterday, 4 years already gone. It was a sober moment in the Red Chamber as the 9th Senate gets to the finish line. A valedictory session that took off with presentation of Certificate of Legislative Service to all the senators, including the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Kashim Shettima, Nigeria's First Lady, Senator Luremi Tinubu, and Governor of Kaduna State, Obasani. It was time for self-assessment that the actors themselves described as outstanding, having accomplished its legislative agenda and passed more than 500 bills, higher than any assembly since 1999. Critical among these bills are the Petroleum Industry Bill, now Petroleum Industry Act, the oldest in the National Assembly at the time, the Onshore-Offshore Dichotomy Bill, amendment of Nigeria's tax laws through the various finance bills, and the amendment of the Companies and Allied Matters Act. Achievement, the Vice President, Senator Kashim Shettima, attributed to collaboration between the legislative and executive, while the Governor of Kaduna State, Obasani, and Deputy Governor of Akwa Ibom State, Ayo Iyakenyi, collaborated.
The success of the 9th Senate lies in our realization that the health of a robust democracy isn't measured by the frequency of clashes between the executive and the legislature.
I'm overwhelmingly aware that certain persons erroneously mistook the maturity and patriotism of the great legislators of the 9th Senate for weakness.
What was most interesting of all our activities was the way issues were handled in a non-partisan manner.
I dare say this is probably the least partisan assembly that we've had since the advent of democracy in 1999.
Amendment of the Electoral Act and the return of Nigeria's annual budget cycle to January-December remains a turning point in Nigeria's budget process.
The Electoral Act 2022, which is full of common sense innovations intended to foster greater democratic stability.
We also conducted numerous investigative hearings to examine specific issues of public concern, including subsidy claims, power, crude oil theft, production sharing contracts.
For the 10th Senate to take advantage of our strength in the 9th Senate.
So I will urge the government and the 10th Senate to look at the issues of the political and administrative structure for the people of the FCT.
It was a nostalgic moment as senators recalled their years in the Senate.
I went through one of my best time in life in the Senate, and also went through one of my difficult periods. It's not the end to what we have done.
Senate paid tribute to 4 of its former members who passed on: Benjamin Owajimogu from Imo State, Ignatius Longjan Plateau, Rose Oko from Cross River, and Adebayo Shinowo from Lagos State.
God bless you. The Senate is adjourned sine die.
The last sound from the gavel of the 9th Senate as it joins its predecessors, and from the Nigerian Television Authority, its goodbye to the 9th Senate. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
In a bid to foster social cohesion and national unity, the Arewa New Agenda has called on the newly elected senators and members of the House of Representatives to use the election of their principal officers as a platform to demonstrate their commitment to peace building. The group emphasizes the need for balanced inclusion that encompasses the diverse nature of Nigeria, transcending tribal and religious boundaries.
It is therefore critical to reduce the usual acrimony that characterizes struggle for power among the geopolitical zones in a manner that will reduce unnecessary distractions and foster a peaceful and smooth takeoff of the new dispensation under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Anna notes that this is the time for national reconciliation, and in the spirit of our greater tomorrow, all parties involved in bringing about the leadership of the new dispensation need to join hands to usher in a new dawn in the country on the inauguration of the 10th National Assembly.
They believe this is a crucial moment in Nigeria and urged also the elected parliamentarians to prioritize unity and understanding. They further urged all well-meaning Nigerians to extend their support to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Vice President Kashim Shettima as they undertake the challenging task of propelling the nation forward. You're watching the news on NTA International. More reports when we return. Many thanks for being there. Governor Ahmed Aliyu Sokoto has sought the support of stakeholders to tackle security challenges bedeviling parts of the state. He was speaking while receiving the General Officer commanding 8th Division, Nigerian Army, Sokoto, Major General Godwin Michael at the Government House. Zainab Saidu Abdel Nasir has details.
Dr. Ahmed Ali Sokoto describes security as everyone's concern, hence the need for collective efforts to overcome banditry. He thanked the GOC for the visit and assured that his administration will give maximum support to security operatives in the state in terms of logistics to perform their duties effectively.
Security is one of my 9-point agenda. Therefore, this administration will leave no stone unturned to make sure that we secure peoples and their property in the states.
Major General Godwin Mutkut, who doubles as the commander, Joint Task Force Northwest Zone, Operation Hadarin Daji, said he is at the Government House to congratulate the governor on his swearing-in and sympathize with the people of Sokoto State over the recent banditry attacks in some villages of Tangaza and Gwadaba local government areas. He assured that they will do whatever it takes to be on top of the situation.
We are not happy, and we've so far started with some operations. It's just a matter of days. We are going to get all those culprits. We are going to make sure they pay for what they've done.
A souvenir was presented to the governor by the GOC. In Sokoto, Zainab Said Abdel Nasir, NTA News.
With gender-based violence taking the lead in crime analysis of Lagos State, establishment of a gender unit in the police force in Lagos State and train officers to mitigate the impact of this anomaly to guarantee public order in the state becomes imperative. Joa Popola reports that this synergy with non-governmental organizations and motivation of officers through promotion and other incentives.
The Nigerian police is not oblivious of the threat posed by domestic and gender-based violence, which has assumed a worrisome dimension. Hence, the Lagos State Police has expanded its structure to encompass gender units. To ensure a smooth running of the unit, the Lagos State Police Command is partnering relevant stakeholders to prepare those who are to be deployed to the unit with adequate knowledge of the enormity of the task ahead. To ensure the mandate of bringing down the unwanted statistics of gender-based violence is achieved. Commissioner of Police in charge of Lagos, Idowu Owonwa, noted that as first responders to incidents of domestic violence, there is need to enhance the professional capacity of officers and men.
Our dream is to make Lagos State Police Command the lead across all other commands in this country in our ability, in our capacity, in our knowledge. We are confident we will complete the restructuring of the center we are going to use in anticipation of the commencement of operations of our gender unit there.
For Titilola Vaivo Adeniyi, Executive Secretary of Lagos State Domestic and Sexual Violence Agency, the partnership with the police will help the state gain a lot of mileage towards ending gender-based violence and other related crimes.
So we expect that at the end of this initiative, we would have enhanced service delivery from the police personnel, we would have improved evidence gathering, we would have facts that will be critical for ensuring prosecution of these cases.
Newly promoted officers expected to carry out critical reforms in the police were unveiled and decorated with a charge to think outside the box for better policing of the state. In Lagos, Joel Mukbola, NTA News.
The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, has achieved notable success in combating drug-related crimes in the country. In Lagos, a secret methamphetamine laboratory was discovered in a residential community, leading to the seizure of the methamphetamine and precursor chemicals. Simultaneously, the NDLEA intercepted shipments of skunk and tramadol while conducting operations in various states, resulting in the seizure of illicit drugs and the arrest of individuals involved in drug trafficking. The National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, in collaboration with the International Center for Migration and Policy Development, has conducted a free medical outreach for victims of human trafficking in Katsina State. The medical program targeted 80 victims on the shelter, rehabilitation and counseling of the agency. Awal Haliru reports.
The Indian medical program was aimed at ensuring that victims of human trafficking have access to medical needs while undergoing rehabilitation at the shelter for healthcare services. This was part of the rehabilitation and integration process of the victims, and one of the programs NAPTIP is collaborating with the International Center for Migration and Policy Development. Director General of the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, represented by Director Rehabilitation and Counseling, said the medical outreach was to address trauma and other issues on the victims.
The issue of human trafficking is very dear to her heart, and she's all out to ensure that the victims get all they deserve as human beings and their rights being protected.
We have volunteers from the Nigerian Medical Association to be able to examine them, have an on-spot examination. It's critical to ensuring that their well-being, they're in a safe and a mental state of heart.
The agency in Katsina State has recorded success in rescuing victims of human trafficking.
Almost convicted 10 traffickers as last year. And then, alhamdulillah, this year we rescue almost 200 plus.
The Katsina State Commandant of the agency urged people of the state to provide them with useful information for prompt action. In Katsina, Awal Halliru, NTA News.
Government will partner professional organizations and donor agencies in tackling heart and related ailments. Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf stated this during the flag off of free open heart surgeries for less privileged in the state. Abdullah Mustafa has the details.
An assessment tour of the Murtala Muhammad Specialist Hospital, the largest health facility in Kano State, was among Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf's first official engagements after his inauguration. While there, he assured of adequate attention to the health sector, especially the provision of special services to less privileged patients. Such special services seem underway as a partnership with Saudi Arabian government is providing free open heart surgery to patients in Kano State. 20 Saudi surgeons are teaming up with counterparts from the Aminu Kano Teaching Hospital to carry out the surgeries.
Whole procedure is going to be conducted free. This includes the admission of the patient, the assessment of the patient, the operations, and subsequent drugs and follow-up that's going to be given.
The present administration in Kano prioritizes healthcare system than any other project in Kano.
Governor Abba assured that, in addition, the state government will partner professional and donor agencies in the areas of training and capacity building of medical personnel. In Kano, Abdullah Mustafa, NTA News.
Now let's join our sport desk for sport update. Next is a check on Monday's weather prospects for Nigeria and other cities of the world.